Hey, what's going on? I'm Fabian for Liberty. FabianForLiberty.com is the website. So this week has been probably one of the most important weeks in financial news, if you will, that goes completely ignored, which I'll break down here, since I've been probably posting videos on the Fabian for Liberty channel. Now, what is that important news? What's the most important news in light of the MF global, meltdown, the derivatives ballooning? I mean, you name it, all the news that I've talked about here for over 3 years. And that is that this week, the Fed has signaled something that I've talked about now for a while. They've signaled that we are indeed in the end game. We are in the end game of this business cycle. But when this business cycle goes down, it will be the largest transfer of wealth ever. And it will spell economic destruction for likely 50% of the U.S. population. I mean, let me put it this way. Economic destruction for everyone within the sound of my voice, dependent in any way on this government or on a 20th century model of economics, or not economics, of, the job paradigm and things of that nature. Destruction. Now, look, I could be completely wrong. And, look, if you're somebody who buys what CNBC is watching, if you buy that unemployment's at a, record low, if you buy that, what Obama's telling you, then, I'll just, let you know now, this is probably a video you don't even want to waste your time watching. Because I'm dealing with reality, and I'm dealing with truth. Now, I know that is, for a lot of people, they're like, whoa, no, I don't want to, deal with that. So again, do yourself a service and, basically don't watch the rest of this video. But for those of you that want to deal with reality, want truthful, accurate forecasting of what's going to happen, well, I'd suggest you hang in for the next 5 minutes and you get a dose of it, because that's what I'm about to serve up. And again, let me just say this. It's not that I'm special. It's not about me in any way. It's so incredibly obvious. Anybody who has a room temperature IQ that knows a little bit of history and knows the way the central bankers work, bingo, you can figure it out, okay? So first, let me just say that, look, I've said for some time now that we're not going to see an economic collapse until the Fed basically either by its own, which it won't, but even by its own accord, or because of international pressure and basically countries that eventually want to get off the dollar standard, they're going to keep printing money. Now, the fact that this week the Fed says we're going to, basically do the countdown to QE4, that, hey, don't worry, we won't, we'll keep interest rates at record lows, and if we got to print again, we'll do it. In fact, the San Francisco Fed chief openly calling for QE4. So it's only a matter of time, of course, and I've said this for some time, and as we've seen, the money printing only lasts so long. Then it stops, and then we get into a deflation thing. But they keep on printing. Inflation lags the money printing. So this next dose of QE, I don't know if it's going to be $1 trillion a year, $10 trillion a year. I mean, who knows what they're willing to do. I think that we need a crisis, a major crisis, before we see major QE. Now, we'll probably see some more bond purchases and purchases of worthless mortgage-backed securities that we're likely buying back from the Germans or the Chinese that are worth literally nothing. I mean, they're worth about as much as this laser pegs, the ultimate construction toy for kids piece of paper that I'm holding up right now. Okay? So they're probably buying that back, and they need to keep doing that in order for those countries to stay, well, okay, fine, I guess we'll stick around. We'll continue to stick around and entertain this idea of a dollar payment system. So this week, that is so critical that this week the Fed says interest rates will remain at record low. Remember, I broke this down a while back ago, that at these interest rates, if the Fed continues these rates for the next 6 or 7 years, we're talking about close to a third devaluation in the US dollar. You can't keep record interest rates at zero forever. And we've had them at zero for almost 10 years. Mind you, it has stolen trillions of dollars from the middle class, because otherwise, if rates were 5 or 6 or 7% like normal, the middle class and the money that they used to have in savings, they'd actually be getting interest payments back. But not anymore. No, that's not good enough for the banksters. It's not good enough that the banksters can print unlimited QE, unlimited money, basically skim off the top trillions for themselves to go buy artwork, penthouses in London and New York City and God knows what else. Prop up valuations on Facebook, people saying they're worth hundreds of billions of dollars. We are in such a Ponzi economy right now that and I've looked. And if you know of one, let me know. But I mean, I've looked from the Romans to Greeks to Babylonians to the Weimar Republic, Argentina. I've never in my life read or know about a economy so rigged, so manipulated, so incredibly fabricated like the U.S. economy is today, run by psychopathic, elitist, 1% of 1% banksters that, I mean, they're down to wreck everything. Okay? Now, the QE is going to start up again. Inflation's going to go back up again. They're purposely suppressing the price of gold and silver. A couple weeks ago, gold and silver was at a record low, not a record low, but it was about $16, an incredible deal. Gold as well. Because if gold prices were going up exponentially, the rest of the world would be catching on that the dollar is a piece of garbage. Now, that doesn't mean we won't keep using the dollar. I think we will. The question is, what will the dollar be worth? And how much longer will countries like China, India, the Russians, other developing countries around the world, Brazil, how much longer are they going to stick around and continue to allow the inflation that America is exporting to their shores continue to wreck their economies, and like in China, have double-digit, triple-digit food price increases because of the fact that they use the dollar as the world reserve currency? I would argue not much longer. But again, important week where the Fed now has openly now said, we will keep the QE to keep the economy stable. There is no turning back now. It is now stated by the Fed that if they stop printing money, within 6 months, the economy's in the tanker because none of this has been real. It's been all an illusion, all a fraud. Now, this might sound to the average uninformed individual as doom and gloom. I call it, like I said at the beginning of this video, economic truth. But the point is that I want to just be clear with you that I used to get all freaked out about this. I'm not freaked out about it anymore because I have no control over it. I can come on here, I can pontificate, I can talk about, what's happening, I can tell you, the reality as I see it. But I actually think that my studies of history show me that for people prepared, this is actually something that, because we're not going to stop it. Okay, these people aren't going to stop because, this video gets 20,000 views or because whatever, it's just not going to stop. I can't stop it, you can't stop it, but we can prepare for it and be smart about it and do what others have done in the past to insulate themselves from complete madness. Now, one last point is that, and I kind of touched on this, but we'll see more QE here shortly. But the mega QE, we're not at the end of the business cycle. Okay, that's why I said we've got a couple years of where we're going to see the Dow Jones, I believe the Dow up 200 points a day. We'll see it hit over 20,000. We'll continue to see double-digit price increase in real estate. In fact, I was looking at a chart the other day in Detroit, 40 to 100% price appreciation year after year in Metro Detroit. That's how, so the point is this, ladies and gentlemen, is that the mega QE, and when I mean mega QE, it's probably going to be like a $5-10 trillion stimulus plan that will be coordinated maybe with the EU. It'll be like a global deal. And that will be on the heels of claiming we got to fight ISIS. ISIS has taken out oil fields in southern Iraq, which has been another one of my predictions. More evidence today that they are within miles of Baghdad, ready to attack. We also know that the Ebola virus could send the economy into the tanker, leading the Fed. The only thing they could do is just print more and more money and hope that, hey, if we just give out money to everybody, that somehow will, they'll feel good about going out and maybe getting infected with Ebola or taking the risk of going out to the store to buy crap, because it's such a consumer-driven madness that they will, that'll help the economy. But either way, I try to forecast things as best as I can, but make no mistake, the people that are running the show, they are like 8 moves ahead of us. I'm Fabian for Liberty, FabianForLiberty.com. Thanks for watching. I'm out.